Hi, this is Mos Fet of the Bakelite Army, and welcome to my studio. Also doubling as a basement and laundry room right now. I'm going to show a few versions of soul live tunes that the Bakelite Army plays. I've had a bunch of people ask me to show them how to play these things, and I figured the quickest way was fire them up on YouTube. And I'm not saying these things are note for note correct. However, I do have really good ears when it comes to Hammond organs, and I generally get these things pretty well correct. I may not be the fastest player in the world, but I got good ears. Anyway, first thing I'm going to do is show everybody my keyboard rig, which is very, very simple, being a Hammond B3. And what else would you possibly need in a keyboard rig? So, this is it. My Hammond B3 may look a little odd to you. It actually started out life as a Hammond A100, which is a B3 in 1960s living room garb. I don't think they actually had this kind of stuff on the back of it in the 60s, but this was done by my buddy Galvo, and it's been wildly modified and chopped primarily to make it more portable. And this will actually fit into your average sport utility vehicle, unlike most B3s, which almost fit into a Pullman car, but not quite. So legs come off, all that sort of stuff. It's got a solid state Trek 2 preamp in it, and the only real difficult part of this was actually getting the conventional Hammond pedal to work with this, and it does. It just runs a conventional stereo cable with a 1/4 inch stereo tip on it out of the pedal into the back of the organ. And pretty much all these little jacks here are involved with either power or connection to some sort of Leslie system. I've got quarter outs, I've got outs for 145 or a 147, System 21 Leslie switch. So I got a bunch of different Hammond stuff. There's my 145 Leslie, currently busted. Can't figure out why, but I'll figure it out at some point. I have a bunch of different half moon switches, all which say pretty stupid things on them. This one says Maytag, and it says rinse, dry, and spin. The little die on the top was so that I wouldn't slice my hand open. You can always tell Hammond players because the little knob usually flies off, and then they slice their hand open, and I don't know if it shows up there, but I've actually got a little scar from doing that too. You know, it's kind of like the Hammond handshake or something. I Velcro these things on, which isn't ideal because they do tend to flop around a little bit. But I use some sort of industrial Velcro, and quite frankly, I can't even pull it off now. Underneath, there's actually a patch panel here that I made. I don't know how well you can see it here. Where I actually have a half moon switch for each of the Leslies that I've got. Conventional 147, a Leslie 21 system, and currently I'm using a motion sound Leslie, which is loud and fun. The stuff on top of the organ changes from day to day. Right now I'm actually running a cheesy little Korg synthesizer through a talk box. Hello, Peter Frampton. The Leslie I'm using right now, as I mentioned before, is a motion sound system. It's one of the newer Pro 3s that I'm using, the guy with the little tube, which they proudly display in there, and then an older Pro 3 on the top and then a thing called a Low Pro that simulates the drum, Leslie drum on the bottom. It's loud as holy hell, especially if I use both tops. The tops, which have the rotating horns in them, they spin in opposite directions, which tends to give it a little bit more of a 3D sound than you conventionally get out of that. Of course, the most three-dimensional sound you're ever going to get is an old beater 44-watt Leslie. Nobody's ever been able to get that three-dimensional sound out of anything. I don't care what they say, but it's still the industry standard. I just wish it wasn't 44 watts. I'm going to show you a couple of the tunes that I do with my band Bakelite Army. And once I go through each one of the tunes, I'll try to get a recording of Bakelite so you can watch me stumble my way through these tunes. I'm a little rusty and I just had shoulder surgery, so and I'm going to try to make up as many excuses as I can about the quality of my playing. Anyway, here we go.